The dim glow of monitors bathed the interior of the space station in a soft, blue light. Jack sat hunched over his console, scanning the vast expanse of space for any anomalies. The routine was a solitary one, but tonight, the universe seemed to hum with a peculiar energy. "Anything on the scope, Jack?" called out his colleague, Marcus, from across the room. He was checking the calibration on another set of instruments. "Just the usual quiet," Jack replied, his eyes not leaving the screen. "Stars, dust, and echoes of silence." Marcus chuckled, walking over with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Here, this might break the monotony." As Jack reached for his cup, a series of beeps suddenly erupted from the console. Both men stiffened, their attention snapping to the flashing screen. "What is that?" Marcus asked, setting the coffees down hastily. "I don't know, it's not a malfunction. It's a signal," Jack said, his voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Marcus leaned in closer, eyes wide. "A signal? From where?" Jack's fingers flew over the keyboard, triangulating the source. "It's coming from the Arphelian sector, but it's unlike any cosmic noise or standard communication signal." The 2 men listened intently as the signal repeated, a series of low, rhythmic pulses that seemed almost intentional. "Could it be a message?" Marcus whispered, almost afraid to break the spell. "It might just be," Jack murmured. He initiated the protocol for unknown signals, recording the incoming data. "We need to report this, but first, let's try to make some sense of it." Hours passed as they worked side by side, analyzing the signal structure. It was Marcus who first noticed the pattern. "Jack, look here," he said, pointing at the screen. "These repetitions, they're consistent. It's a language." Jack's pulse quickened. "You're right. Let's feed it into the linguistics AI. Maybe it can make something out." The AI worked on the signal, and soon a rough translation appeared on the screen. It read, "Seeking connection. Aria of Civitas. Peace among worlds." Jack's breath caught in his throat. "It's an introduction?" "Seems like it," Marcus replied, equally stunned. "Aria of Civitas. An alien reaching out?" "Let's respond," Jack decided. He crafted a simple message. "Hello, Aria of Civitas. This is Jack and Marcus of Earth. We receive you." Sending it felt like throwing a bottle into the cosmic ocean, not knowing if it would ever find a shore. Yet, as minutes turned to hours, and they were about to give up hope, the console beeped again. "This is Aria. Connection established. Delight in meeting." Jack let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "She understood us, Marcus. This is it. First contact." Marcus nodded, his eyes reflecting the stars outside. "And to think, I was just complaining about another dull night." Jack smiled, his heart racing with the possibilities. "Let's prepare a proper communication protocol. We're going to need to document everything." As the Earth slowly rotated beneath them, the small space station became the fulcrum of potentially the greatest discovery in human history. Jack and Marcus worked into the depths of the cosmic night, drafting messages, recording every exchange, and, most importantly, forging a new connection across the stars with Aria. In this quiet corner of the universe, a new chapter was beginning for humanity, guided by the invisible threads of an alien's promise and the steady rhythm of human curiosity. Chapter 2. The Language of Understanding. The excitement of first contact had barely settled when Jack and Marcus were joined by Dr. Theo Hernandez, a linguist and cultural anthropologist, sent by the Earth Coalition to aid in communication efforts. The space station's meeting room, usually quiet and almost deserted, buzzed with an energy that matched the stars shining outside its windows. "Jack, Marcus, Good to finally meet you, Theo said as he entered, extending a hand to each. I've been briefed, but I'd like to hear directly from you about this signal and your interactions so far. Welcome, Theo, Jack greeted. Let's get straight to it. He motioned towards the large screen displaying the translated messages and the original signal patterns. Theo adjusted his glasses, leaning closer to the screen. Fascinating. The structure is complex, yet remarkably expressive. It seems Aria's language is both phonetic and ideographic. Marcus, who had been meticulously logging every communication, chimed in. We've managed basic greetings and a few cultural exchanges, but we're hitting a wall with deeper concepts. Their understanding of peace, for example, is far more layered than ours. Theo nodded thoughtfully. It's typical of first contact scenarios. Let's try a more structured approach. We need to establish a lexicon, a common ground of terms we understand equally. Jack, could you facilitate a live translation session with Aria? Real time would help us catch the nuances. Jack agreed, setting up the communication link. Aria, this is Dr. Theo Hernandez, an expert in languages and cultures. He's here to help us communicate better. Aria's voice came through, melodious and calm. Greetings, Theo of Earth. Eager to learn and share. Theo introduced a software interface to the conversation, designed to visualize and analyze the linguistic patterns. Aria, let's start with simple concepts. If you could describe your world in 5 words. There was a brief pause before Aria responded. Harmony, light, growth, fluidity, connected. Theo typed the words into the interface, which displayed various possible meanings and contexts. Each of these words, do they relate to your environment, your society, or personal philosophy? Interconnected, Aria replied. All is one is all. As the session progressed, Jack and Marcus observed Theo's expertise at work. He was not just translating language, he was interpreting a whole new way of thinking. Every response from Aria added layers to their understanding of her world. After several hours, they took a break. Theo leaned back, rubbing his temples. This is extraordinary. Aria's civilization seems to have evolved without the conflicts that define much of human history. Their language reflects that, a focus on community and integration. Marcus looked over the notes. It's going to change how we see the universe, isn't it? Knowing we're not alone and that peace like theirs is possible. It does more than that, Jack added. It challenges us to rethink our approach to our problems on Earth. Theo nodded in agreement. For now, let's compile what we've learned today. We need to present this to the coalition. There's much to prepare if we're to continue this dialogue. The men worked into the night, drafting a detailed report. Their task was monumental, yet the atmosphere was charged with a shared purpose. Through Aria, humanity was not just learning about another species, they were learning about the potential paths their own future could take. As the artificial lights flickered softly against the backdrop of space, the small station seemed less like an outpost and more like a gateway, a point of connection between not just 2 species, but 2 futures. Chapter 3. The Alien's Promise. In the weeks following the intensive language sessions, Jack, Marcus, and Theo solidified a robust communication framework with Aria. Their daily exchanges became a blend of linguistic training and cultural revelation. As Earth's night cloaked their station, the team gathered around the communication terminal, ready for another session with Aria. Let's discuss something a bit different today, Theo suggested, his curiosity piqued by the earlier conversations. Aria, could you share a tradition from your world that is important to your people? Aria's voice filled the room, always causing a slight pause as the men adjusted to the ethereal quality of her speech. We celebrate the alignment. It is when our planet and its moons align perfectly with the central star. It is a time of renewal and profound connection. Marcus was quick to ask, "What happens during this alignment?" People from across our world gather. We share knowledge, art, music, and food. It is a promise of continuity and unity, Arya explained. Jack, intrigued, noted, "It sounds like a promise of peace and cooperation. Is there a personal aspect to it?" "Yes, Jack. Individuals make personal vows to better themselves and their community," Arya responded. Theo, always looking to deepen their understanding, added, "It's fascinating how your society values collective experience and personal growth equally. We have similar practices, but perhaps not as integrated." The conversation shifted as Marcus interjected with a more technical question. "Arya, you mentioned using technology during these gatherings. Could you elaborate on how technology integrates with your traditions?" Arya's explanation introduced concepts foreign and yet fascinating to the human mind. "Our technology is alive, part of us and our ecosystem. It adapts and grows with us, aiding in our gatherings by enhancing our connectivity and sustaining our environment." The team listened, enraptured by the notion of living technology. This sparked a new wave of technical inquiries from Marcus, who was keen on understanding the practical applications of such technology. "Could you share how this technology interacts with individuals during the alignment?" he probed further. "It senses and adapts to the needs of each being, ensuring harmony and balance," Arya described, her tone reflective of the profound respect her people held for their technology. Theo, seeing an educational opportunity, suggested, "Let's set up a virtual exchange. Arya, would you be able to send us visual representations or data on this technology? We could learn a lot from your advancements." Arya agreed. "I shall send what I can. The promise I extend to you is not just of knowledge, but of a shared understanding and potentially shared growth." Jack felt a surge of excitement. "Thank you, Arya. We look forward to learning more and sharing our own experiences and technology." As the transmission ended, the men gathered around a table littered with notes and digital tablets. "We need to prepare for this," Jack stated, a sense of responsibility in his tone. "This exchange could be the bridge we've been hoping for." Theo nodded, adding, "This goes beyond mere scientific exchange. It's a cultural bridge. We should consider how we can incorporate some of their principles into our own societal models." Marcus, ever the pragmatist, chimed in, "And think about the technological implications. If their tech can really do what Arya describes, it could revolutionize environmental conservation and social interactions on Earth." The trio spent the rest of their shift planning the next steps. They drafted a list of technologies and cultural elements from Earth that could be shared with Arya and her people, focusing on those that demonstrated humanity's potential for growth and peace. As the station orbited silently through space, the small, isolated outpost felt less isolated than ever before. Each man knew they were part of something much larger than themselves, a dialogue that might one day reshape their understanding of what it meant to be part of a connected universe. Chapter 4. Crossing the Threshold. The weeks of preparation culminated in an ambitious undertaking. Jack and his team were to visit Arya's planet, Civitas, to experience their celebrated alignment festival firsthand. The excitement was palpable as they checked and rechecked their equipment, each item a bridge between two worlds. As the departure day arrived, Theo, Jack, and Marcus gathered in the docking bay, their ship prepped for the interstellar journey. "Theo, did you pack the cultural gifts?" Jack asked, securing his own gear. "Yes, everything's catalogued and stored. We've got music, art, and some technological gadgets that represent the best of Earth," Theo replied, tapping his digital tablet to confirm. Marcus, checking the communication gear, looked up. I'm most curious about their living tech. Imagine what we could learn from it. The voyage to Civitas was smooth, and as their ship approached the planet, the sight of its vibrant colors and swirling clouds left them in awe. Aria's voice greeted them through the comm system. "Welcome, friends of Earth, to Civitas." Landing procedures went smoothly, and soon they were disembarking onto a platform that overlooked a vast cityscape, where structures seemed to grow out of the ground like natural formations, harmonious and alive. A group approached, led by a figure that could only be Aria. Her appearance was as serene as her voice, her movements graceful and welcoming. "Jack, Theo, Marcus, it is a joy to meet you in our world," Aria said, extending a hand, which they learned was a gesture she had adopted from their communications. Theo presented her with a small, beautifully wrapped package. "Aria, these are gifts from Earth, a token of our gratitude and friendship." "Thank you, Theo." "They will be cherished," Aria responded, accepting the gifts with a nod of respect. She led them through the city, explaining various aspects of their culture and technology. "Here, our buildings are part of the ecosystem, not merely on it. They live, breathe, and give back to the environment," she explained. Marcus was fascinated. "How do they breathe?" "Our structures are integrated with microorganisms that process carbon dioxide and other elements, producing oxygen and nutrients," Aria detailed. Theo, ever the anthropologist, observed the interactions among Civitas inhabitants. "Your people seem very connected, Aria. I notice a lot of tactile communication." "Yes, touch is important to us. It strengthens our bonds and helps us share experiences and emotions," Aria explained. As the day progressed, they were treated to displays of Civitas technology and art, each more incredible than the last. But the highlight was the evening's alignment ceremony. Standing in a vast open area, they watched as the three moons aligned with the central star. The city lit up, not with artificial light, but with bioluminescent glows from the buildings themselves. Aria stood beside them, her voice soft. "Now, we share our promise of renewal. Tonight, each of us will commit to personal and communal growth." Jack felt moved by the ceremony and the profound sense of peace that enveloped the crowd. "Aria, this is incredible. The sense of community, the harmony with nature. It's something we've strayed from on Earth." Aria nodded. "Each world follows its path, Jack. Perhaps this is the time for Earth to rediscover its own." As the festival continued into the night, the team participated in traditional dances and shared Earth's music, creating a new rhythm that was a blend of both worlds. Later, as they recorded their experiences, Marcus summed it up. "Today wasn't just about observing. It was about participating. We're truly crossing the threshold, not just visiting a new world, but being part of it." Theo added, "It's an exchange, a real dialogue. What we learn here could help us address some of our own issues back home." Jack looked out at the city, its lights a mirror to the stars above. "This trip will change us all, I think." "How can it not? We're not just visitors. We're learners, diplomats, and friends, thanks to Aria's promise and our willingness to listen." Their stay on Civitas was just beginning, but already each man knew that what they learned here would influence not just their own lives, but potentially the future of human-civilization interaction. Chapter 5. The Touch of Discovery. The next morning on Civitas, the city awoke to the gentle rhythms of nature harmonizing with technology. Jack, Theo, and Marcus began their day at a local learning center, where Aria had arranged for them to explore more deeply the technologies and social customs that guided her people's daily lives. Upon entering the center, they were greeted by several of Civitas' leading scientists and cultural scholars. "Welcome, Earth friends," said one of the scholars, a tall, slender figure named Rin. "Today, we'll share with you our advances in environmental technology and our communal learning practices." Theo, intrigued by the social aspect, asked, "Could you elaborate on how communal learning is facilitated here?" Rin gestured towards a large, open classroom where individuals of various ages interacted with holographic displays. "Here, learning is a collective activity. We believe that knowledge grows exponentially when shared openly among all ages and professions." As they toured the facility, Marcus, always keen on the technical side, pointed to a device that seemed to be a hub of activity. "What's this?" he inquired. "That," Rin explained, "is our BioLink. It allows us to connect with the city's living network, to understand and respond to its needs, and to each other's in real time." Jack was next to query, fascinated by the concept. "Could we see how it works? Maybe even experience it?" "Of course," Rin replied, leading them to the device. "I'll guide you through the initial connection. It's quite safe and quite enlightening." One by one, they connected to the BioLink. Jack was the first, and as he did, his face lit up with a mixture of astonishment and delight. I can feel the pulse of the city, its life flowing through me." Marcus and Theo followed, each experiencing the profound interconnectedness that Civitas residents lived with daily. "It's like being part of a larger consciousness," Marcus remarked, deeply affected by the sensation. As they continued their visit, Arya joined to discuss the philosophical underpinnings of their technology. "Our technology and philosophy are one, designed to nurture both the individual and the collective. What you felt was the essence of being a part of Civitas." Theo, thinking deeply about the implications, shared, on Earth, technology often isolates rather than connects. What we've experienced here could inspire a shift in how we develop and implement technology. Their next stop was an art gallery, where the fusion of technology and creativity was displayed. Artworks that reacted to the viewer's emotions and pieces that grew and changed with environmental factors showcased the depth of Civitas culture. "This piece," explained an artist as he showed them a canvas that shimmered with changing colors, "reflects the emotions of those who view it. It's a way of sharing inner worlds." Jack, touched by the integration of art and empathy, noted, "There's a beauty in how your art doesn't just express but interacts. It's engaging in a way that goes beyond the visual." As the day wrapped up, the group gathered for a meal at a local community center, where food was grown and prepared within the building itself. They shared stories, comparing cultures and philosophies. Marcus, reflecting on the day, said, "I think what strikes me the most is how every part of your society is designed to build connections. Between people, between technology, and with nature." Arya smiled, pleased with their observations. "The touch of discovery is gentle but profound. You have seen how our world works, not just through your eyes, but with your hearts and minds." As they returned to their accommodations, the men discussed how they could convey the lessons of Civitas back to Earth. The idea of a connected society, one that could embrace technology without sacrificing human values, was more than just appealing. It felt necessary. That night, Jack wrote in his journal, "Today, we touched the future. And perhaps, it's a future that Earth could one day embrace." The promise of Civitas lay not just in its technology, but in its heart, a heart that beat in unison with all its inhabitants. Chapter 6. The Human's Heartbeat. As the sun rose over Civitas, casting a warm glow on the bioluminescent architecture, Jack, Theo, and Marcus prepared for a day dedicated to understanding the emotional and ethical frameworks that guided area society. They met Arya and Rin at a communal garden, where the flora was as much a part of the community as the people. "Today," Arya began, as they walked among fragrant, towering plants, "we explore the deeper connection, how we share emotions and ethical beliefs through our BioLink technology." Theo, ever curious about the philosophical implications, asked, "How do these shared emotions influence your decision-making, especially in governance?" Arya led them to a circle of seats surrounded by lush greenery. Our leaders are chosen based on emotional resonance with the community. They must understand and embody the collective feelings and ethical standards of our people. Marcus, intrigued, noted, "So, your technology not only connects but also stabilizes societal norms?" "Yes, Marcus," Rin added. "It allows for a harmonious society where decisions reflect the collective well-being." As they sat, Rin offered them a chance to experience a simulation of their emotional exchange. "This will help you feel what we mean by emotional resonance." Jack was the first to volunteer, connecting to the biolink set up in the garden. His initial reaction was one of overwhelming calm. "It's like feeling the heartbeat of everyone around me, synchronized in a way that's both comforting and profound." Theo joined in, and his experience echoed Jack's. "There's an ethical clarity here, a shared moral compass. It makes me wonder about the conflicts on Earth. How much is due to our disconnected natures?" Their discussions deepened as they delved into Civitas' philosophy of life. Arya explained, "We believe every life form contributes to the balance of our world. Our technology helps us understand and maintain this balance." Marcus, looking for practical applications, asked, "Could this technology help us on Earth, particularly with environmental issues?" "It could," Arya replied, "if adapted respectfully and used to enhance connectivity rather than control." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a group of Civitas children, who were on a learning excursion. The children's teacher invited the Earth visitors to share something about their home planet. Jack stood and spoke to the eager young faces. "On Earth, we have diverse cultures and environments. We haven't always been good at living in harmony like you do here, but we're learning, and today, we're learning from the best." The children listened intently, their eyes wide with fascination. After the talk, one small child approached Theo. "Do you have gardens on Earth?" "We do," Theo smiled, "and they're as diverse as our people. Maybe one day we can share our gardens with you, as we learn to care for them as you do." As the day ended, the team gathered to reflect on their experiences. Today was about much more than understanding a technology. It was about feeling a different way of life, Jack mused. Theo nodded, adding, "It's about understanding how deeply our emotions and values are intertwined and how they could shape a peaceful society." Marcus, usually focused on the practical, was contemplative. "This emotional technology, it's about enhancing what's already there, a potential within all of us, perhaps the real key to solving many of Earth's issues." As they walked back through the city, the lights of Civitas glimmered around them, reflecting not just physical light but the light of a shared understanding. Jack felt the rhythm of his own heart, now informed by the heartbeat of an entire world, thinking about how this newfound knowledge could help heal his own. Chapter 7. Revelation. The revelation of Civitas' integrated society continued to unfold for Jack, Theo, and Marcus as they spent their final days on the planet. Today's agenda, coordinated by Arya and Rin, involved a deeper dive into Civitas governance and how their emotional connectivity influenced policy-making. The morning began with a visit to the council hall, a structure as alive as the rest of the city, its walls pulsating gently with the rhythm of the community's heartbeat. Here, decisions are made not by debate but through consensus, achieved by deeply understanding each other's perspectives, Arya explained as they entered the hall. Theo, interested in the practical application of such a system, asked, "Could you show us how a council session works? How you use your emotional connectivity to reach consensus?" "Of course," Arya responded. She led them to the central chamber, where council members were gathering for a regular session. As they took their seats in the observers' gallery, Rin handed each of them a device. "This will allow you to feel the general emotional flow of the session without intruding on private emotions. It's a way to observe our process." Jack connected the device and immediately felt a wave of calm determination flow through him. Below, council members began their session by linking hands, closing their eyes, and entering a state of shared consciousness facilitated by their technology. Marcus whispered, observing the process, "There's no arguing, no raised voices, just harmony." "Yes," Rin whispered back. "It's about achieving the best outcome for all, through understanding and balance." As the session continued, the team felt the shifts in emotion, the consensus building like a gentle wave. When the council reached agreement, a sense of satisfaction filled the hall, palpable even to the observers. After the session, a council member, Lin, approached the team. "I hope you found the experience enlightening. It's very different from Earth's methods," Theo remarked. "There, decisions often result in winners and losers. Here, it seems everyone is a winner." Lin nodded. "The goal is always harmony and progress for the entire community." For the rest of the day, Arya and Lin showed them various community projects that had been implemented through this consensus approach, including environmental initiatives and social welfare programs. Jack, reflecting on the day, asked Arya, "How do you deal with dissent or dissatisfaction?" Arya smiled. "Dissent is viewed not as opposition, but as an opportunity to deepen our understanding. Through our connectivity, we usually find a path that respects all views." As the sun set over Civitas, the group gathered at a local dining hall, sharing a meal with Arya, Lin, and other council members. The conversation turned from formalities to personal stories, fostering a deeper connection between the visitors and their hosts. Marcus, taking a moment between discussions, commented, "It's like the whole planet is a family that really listens to each other." "That's a good way to put it," Jack agreed. "And it's something I wish we could emulate on Earth." The evening ended with a promise from Arya to continue the exchange of ideas and technologies. "The revelation you've experienced here," Arya said, "is just the beginning. We hope to learn from you as much as you have learned from us." As they walked back to their quarters under the stars of Civitas, Theo summed up their experience. "Today was not just about seeing another form of governance but feeling it. It's given me a lot to think about in terms of what's possible." Jack nodded, feeling the weight and potential of what they had learned. "When we return to Earth, we've got a big task ahead of us, to share not just the knowledge, but the feeling of what it means to truly understand one another." Their final night on Civitas was bittersweet, filled with the promise of future collaboration and the melancholy of departure. But each man knew they were returning home changed, armed with revolutionary ideas and a new sense of what it meant to be part of a global community. Chapter 8. A New Dawn. As the shuttle prepared to depart from Civitas, Jack, Theo, and Marcus gathered in the viewing gallery, their bags packed but their spirits laden with the weight of departure. Arya and Rin stood beside them, their presence a comforting reminder of the bonds formed. "Your world has been more than just a visit. It has been a profound learning experience," Jack said, looking out at the vibrant landscape of Civitas one last time. Arya smiled warmly. "And for us, your visit has been a revelation of what can be shared and learned between different worlds. This is not a farewell, but a commencement of greater things to come." Marcus, who had been quiet, spoke up. "I'm taking back more than just memories or data. It's like I'm carrying a piece of Civitas with me, a piece that I hope we can use to better our own world." Theo added, "And we have much work to do, to convey not just the facts but the feelings and connections we've experienced here. It's about sharing the heartbeat of Civitas with Earth." Arya handed each man a small, intricately crafted token, a symbol of Civitas. "These are embedded with recordings of Civitas' environment, the sights, sounds, and even emotional ambience. A reminder and an inspiration for what you aim to achieve." As they boarded the shuttle, Rin's final words resonated with them. "Keep the channels open. We anticipate great things from your side, friends of Earth." The journey back to Earth was a time for reflection. The shuttle's cabin was quiet, each man lost in thought, occasionally sharing an insight or idea, sketching out plans on how to communicate their experiences. We need to present this to the Earth Coalition in a way that's compelling. It's not just about adopting new technologies, but a whole new approach to living and governing, Theo proposed, his mind already racing with the possibilities. Jack nodded. We'll start with seminars and talks. Maybe even a series of interactive exhibits using the tokens Aria gave us. We want people to feel Civitas, not just learn about it.